When did my relationship with music begin? I was told it began when I crawled up under the Hammond B3 organ on top of the bass foot pedals and began hearing the sounds of the bass tones from the pedals. My father's relationship was very serious with music. Coming up in the musical household, I witnessed, multiple bands that he worked with. One of the, if not the first, founders of funk music and funk bands in Dayton, Ohio, the Moroccos. He even wrote the theme song 30 years ago at the NATO Peace Accord conference that was held at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. It was a children's song of peace.
We are the world. We are the love.
I grew up in and out of the recording studio with him, way back in the day. It was called Cyber Techniques Recording Studios, where even some Dayton hits were created out of. Watching what he modeled, projects that I was personally a part of, learning to produce under him, sparked in me and also inspired me to work with youth how I do today. I could almost describe it as sustaining the Bell legacy and community impact. The Deron Bell Band came to exist from, there was a very popular jazz nightclub downtown Dayton called Jilly's. Everybody knows about Jilly's from back in the day. And Jerry Gelati took me under his wing. The clubs were great, they were fun, they were learning opportunities, but I had already saw people making records, right? I had already worked under a couple different managers like Ron Patterson, who were working with groups like Cameo and The Deal and the SOS Band. So I had saw a lot prior to getting into the club scene, if you will. Reflecting back on my teenage years, it was inspiration. It was a lot of mentoring, during that time in my life, and seeing, seeing their success. You mentioned being around Roger and Zapp, seeing the limos, seeing the tour buses, seeing the recording studios. But at the end of the day, what I saw most of all was adults pouring into us neighborhood youth at the time, being inspired. Do your best in school, tap into your creative side, but stay focused through the process. So moving into, adulthood, having the opportunities to play with Shirley Murdoch at church or with her husband, Pastor Dale, who's still the music director of Zapp.
I watched like Roger. I watched him, kind of do projects with the kids in the neighborhoods to keep them out of the streets. They were in the streets originally, and that's where he found them. And he would give them a drum or Sugarfoot. I watched him give a little boy, just went and bought him a guitar. I'm a lead singer. I play no instrument, and I'm okay with that. I may play a kabasa, that's about all they're gonna get out of me. But singing and kind of helping Deron keep things in line is my role.
What's it like to lead a band? The relationships, for me as a leader, is the most important. When I really look at the time that's spent on stage, it's very minimal compared to the time that we spend in rehearsals, the time that we spend in encouraging one another in this thing called life. So as a band leader, I would say being in tune with where everyone is relationship-wise is the key.
Working with Deron is easy, and I've been in a number of bands. You have that one person that is in charge, and some people can take it overboard or too extreme and talk to you like you're a child. Deron talks to us like we are equals, and everybody's opinion matters.
My music ed was developed around 2015.
Y'all ready? Here we go. Music, 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 go. Rhythm, 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 go.
It was an app that I was blessed with the opportunity to create because a lot like my father, I was in schools going classroom to classroom mentoring. The base of my partnerships are at City Day Community School, downtown Dayton, Ohio. It's a pre-K to 8th grade school, and they use the app in all grade levels, and just as well as the mentors and the interns that come from Central State University and their social work majors. I wanted the app not necessarily to be centered around what I could do with it, but what could a non-musician do or use as a tool to connect with young people.
My music ed. All right, let me do a rhythm check real quick.
Through instruments, making beats, playing musical games, learning sounds, and also being able to circle up and have conversations about life.
Some of the changes that I saw, students were a lot more comfortable with being able to come to teachers and let them know that they're having issues or they're having struggles. More community has been built on the more positive side of things.
The question of the day goes a little something like this. Sit it up!
Harambe is a Swahili word that actually means to come together. So it literally means synergy, but it means to come together in the sense where we sing, we dance, we cheer, we chant, we have fun, we recognize the kids, we recognize the staff for their accomplishments. One of the big things is that it's just a big cultural piece where we try to make things positive. Healing in the sense, I think that school is a place of healing. For a lot of our students and a lot of students in the United States of America, school might be their safe space.
And it's something about the way he talks to the kids and the way he loves the kids, they draw to him. He sees what the world is giving them, and he tries to give them something different through music.
It teaches them how to interact with each other in a positive way, and even when you have issues. When I got to this school, that year I suspended 70 kids. We only had 180 kids in the building. Last year, I suspended 2, and the year before that, we had none.
Deron uses exactly the same tactic that his father used. Deron is very charismatic. He pushes his way into the hearts of the staff, the students, and brings the funk to City Day. I was here when Deron's father was here. He was our music director, and I started out as a teacher here at City Day, and I was a middle school math teacher, and he had a keyboard that he would come into all of our classrooms and just bring music and joy into each classroom.
He made and created multiple children's learning activity books. His company was called Home-Based Arts because he did all his work in homes, but he made many books, and there are hundreds of thousands of them that have already been distributed. His legendary work still lives on to this day.